And we're back with Frank Cipottini coming into turn one, the leader in our Group 10 race. He actually had a spin lap one yesterday, turn one, and that caused the whole race. But here he is leading this race in that six Chevrolet Camaro going up the uphill S's. Back with us, Group 10 Watkins Glen International.
Yeah, we welcome you back to our coverage on the live stream. Ben Sissel, Jonathan Green bringing you the action of the big muscle cars of Group 10.
Frank Cipottini coming around the inner loop, followed by Phil Lasco, followed by Tim Rubright in that Mark Martin car. There's Phil Lasco in that TA2 car. Phil's raced in TA2 in years past. Now going Group 10 vintage racing.
Now, we're kind of saying it's muscle cars, and it is, but there's quite a few Porsches and Jaguars out there as well. But we're looking at Ford Thunderbirds and Chevrolet Camaros and effectively, like you say, some good American muscle taking on some good
Some stock
muscle.
cars, some like GTO cars, American GTO cars, Trans Am cars from new and from the 80s and 90s. It's a good mix of cars, and the Porsche Cup cars. But look at this fight here for fourth and fifth is heating up with Jeffrey Bernatovich and Doug Richmond. But there's Tim Rubright, who gave Scott Borchetta quite a race yesterday in our Group 6.
Yeah, he did. I think Scott must have enjoyed that because he really was under
he had a
pressure.
blast.
He's usually in that car on his own for mile after mile, isn't he?
Yeah, that's Doug Cloud in the white 63 there at the tail end of this group. And Jeffrey Bernatovich there in the middle on that number 90 Chevrolet Corvette, looking to make a move on Rubright. So two basically GT1 cars there on the left with a American stock car, Mark Martin car there on the right.
Yeah, it's a good looking car, that number 90, currently in fourth position. One Corvette, beautiful.
Closing the doors, Bernatovich on Doug Richmond. Now, Bernatovich had the corner, but Doug Richmond, he's going to be pretty upset about that.
Well, that's lovely. We were right there at the right time for that one.
Now, in vintage racing rules, the person that's ahead has the corner, but Jeffrey Bernatovich barely had the corner. Doug Richmond had the line, but we had a spin there. He's back up and running. That's going to be really unfortunate for Doug Richmond because I think Doug thought he had the line. But just good racing here in Group 10.
I think it's worth another look, don't you?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at a bit of action from a moment ago coming into the bus stop. And it got a little hairy. Yeah, you're right. It was 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, but good racing.
I don't think there was contact.
No, there wasn't.
And I think that might be ruled a racing incident because it looked to me from Doug's point of view that maybe Bernatovich was giving it to him and then he came in and closed the door on him. But hopefully no harm, no foul, except for Doug Richmond might be a little upset. Might have some flat spots on his tires and that beautiful GT1 Ford Falcon, which sounds funny, but I love it. Get creative with your car designs.
Richmond still in fifth, ahead of John Cloud in sixth. Cloud in the Pontiac Grand Prix.
The Rusty Wallace Pontiac, there he is. Rusty Wallace stock car. Jeffrey Lyman in the 77 Corvette. And there's Rusty Wallace. Genuine Draft, Miller Genuine Draft number 2 car, driven by John Cloud.
Tell the story you told yesterday.
Yeah, so
Rahal.
It was always Team MGD because they got the name Team MGD, the John Cloud Racing Team, because they came to some kind of event or racing school at Mid-Ohio, and Bobby Rahal told John Cloud and all of his buddies, it seems like you care just as much about your Miller Genuine Draft as you do the racing. And that is truly kind of the vintage racing spirit. John Cloud is a big part of that, racing the Rusty Wallace Miller Genuine Draft. stock car here. And if Bobby Rahal gives you a nickname, that nickname's going to stick.
It's going to stick. And you mentioned it yesterday. I like that era of NASCAR when the cars really did emulate the road cars.
Yeah, they looked like the cars that you were driving on the road.
No offense to today's modern cars and to the Gen 2 coming up, but...
I'm fine offending it. I think they need to go back to the cars look right. That car looks right. Our TA2 cars look right. They look like Mustangs, Camaros, and Challengers.
Yeah.
It's not hard to do, people. Let's make it happen. Speaking of that, I got to leave, Jonathan. I'm going to go down and host the grid walk for Trans Am.
Well, go for it. We've got Trans Am coming up, the real deal, as it were, all class Trans Am modern day event for the national championship, and it's right on the line, especially after yesterday. Chris Dyson and Tommy Dreesy, and I can confirm, if you were watching the race yesterday and watched Tommy Dreesy take the checkered flag, he was penalized. In fact, it was a heavy penalty which dropped Tommy Dreesy down 40 seconds for passing under a yellow, racing under a yellow, and that has given Dyson a huge advantage by both taking the race win and, of course, Dyson his closest challenger, and likewise clutch problems for Ernie Francis Jr. Put him out. So Chris Dyson very much in the box seat now for the championship, and if he can finish it off today in TA with another win, then he'll head to Virginia and COTA looking rather good. Likewise, Rafa Matos, 3 in a row at Watkins Glen yesterday in TA2, and he too looking for back-to-back victories here at the Glen. That to come after this Group 10 race, which is starting to wind down now, and Frank Capitino in the yellow and black Chevrolet that you just saw go far. There is your leader in that 6B. And Phil Lasco still second place in the Ford Mustang at the moment. Good looking car, Jeff Lyman in that 77. Good job, a good paint scheme on that 77B. In fact, it's Lauren Fix, the Jaguar XR. Carefully drifting through the bus stop. Nice and smooth. No drama. Currently in 9th position, just behind Martin Husek. Here's Lauren. And Mark Sharon just behind them, and Scott Young as well. And he's in a Jaguar XKE. And there's Mark Sharon in that Dodge Challenger, the most modern car out there in this group for sure. Driven originally by Morris Said. And of course that's a Poncho Weaver car. Last lap flag is out for our leader. As Frank Ciappatini takes the Camaro through its paces. I love the logo on the front. Had a closer look at that earlier in the weekend, and yeah, beautifully prepared, as all of these cars are. And he's got a good 2-second lead over Phil Lasco coming into this final lap. There you see the gap. The Mustang's going to give it a go. And there's certainly time in this 3 mile, just over 3.5 mile track. And it looks like Jeffrey Budenovich is going to finish third in his Corvette. But there you can see the gap between our leaders. So coming out of the boot or into the boot and out toe to heel for the last time. There's your leader, high above the yellow and black Camaro. Has led all the way. Lasco doing a good job of closing in the closing stages in the Mustang. Good show, good race. And I'm glad they got some green laps today because they were pretty much under yellow throughout most of yesterday's race, so it's good to see them actually racing. The Mustang really trying, but he's not going to catch that Corvette, not going to catch that Camaro before the end of the race. And sure enough, Camaro wins it. The Mustang second with Phil Lasco, and in third place it's Jeffrey Budenovich in the number 90. There he is. Corvette taking third. Tim Rubright taking fourth place just behind Doug Richmond in fifth, and Jeff Lyman in sixth place.